The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah, go Cowboys!
This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And it's time for a fabulous Football Friday edition of Mick Shots. And there it is. Victory Friday leading up to Washington. Noon on Sunday at AT&T Stadium. Time to get fired up, Everson Walls.
It just doesn't sound right. You get fired up for the Commanders. You know, it just don't sound right, man. It's kind of, I feel like we're on any given Sunday. I'm expecting the old LL Cool J to be out there playing for them.
It's somebody to show up in the stands with pig snoots on or whatever.
And it's nothing against the Washington Commanders, whatever, at all. But it's going to take some time for this nickname to take full effect. It seems you say Washington Commanders and you think you're talking about one of these new league, a spring league team or something.
I was thinking we were talking about the Revolutionary War or something. The Commanders.
I wouldn't call it. It's got to be just a mascot. I wouldn't call it a nickname because a nickname is casual. This is their name. It's like their surname. It's like their surname.
I started writing my column this morning, and I said, and they're getting ready to play the Washington. And I caught myself, and I said, you know what? No, I'm leaving it there. RED ... Commander. Sorry, some habits don't change. You know, just being real.
Could have gone with Washington Generals.
The Generals.
The Harlem Globetrotters used to own them, right?
Trust me, that's the first name I thought of when I thought they'd get another name. But
you really can't go with the Washington Generals.
I've heard that somewhere before.
No, that would not work.
Actually, that got thrown out the other day. They were arguing in the media room about the quality of Wilt Chamberlain. However, this came up.
The quality of Wilt Chamberlain.
Like he was the best ever.
Yeah.
And I said, well, yeah, he was good. I said, you guys watch him play? I got to watch him play, right? I know he was good. But I said, some of the best players back in those early days, they were in the ABA. And if they weren't in the ABA, they were playing for the Washington Generals. I'm not the Washington Generals. I meant to say the Harlem Globetrotters, right? I said, that, so it's hard to compare.
It is so funny. We just got through talking about this yesterday.
No
of
way.
Course, we're going with the Jordan versus LeBron. Then we went into, Russell versus Chamberlain. And who were they actually playing against?
Right.
Were they milkmen? You know what I mean?
And
just tall milkmen.
That was my point.
Where they get these guys from?
And everybody
from Irving McCarthy.
Everybody looks at me
people Bill knew
that hadn't seen him play, right? And I pointed that out. I said he was 7'2", and everybody else was 6'8".
Right.
And they go, "Whoa!" I said, all he had to do was do this.
But now
he was athletic.
That's what I was gonna say.
He was athletic.
They said his 220 at that time, 220 yards, was like almost Olympic caliber time.
Yes.
I mean, everything he did, he was amazing at it. He could have been the best volleyball player. I think he high jump.
Right.
The guy was a heck of a high jumper.
I mean, he's a great athlete.
Yeah, great athlete. But when you're talking about scoring first of all, hard to score 100 points. I don't care who you're playing against, right?
Even me,
That's
right?
a lot of points. That's a lot of shots. You got to be tired after that. I don't care.
Playing against air.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, playing against air. That's a lot of points, right? So, I don't know. I got to give him credit for what he's done. But in comparison to, there's even a difference between LeBron's opponents and Michael Jordan's opponents.
Right.
And when you think about it, the big men that win the game at that time, I don't think they, on the whole, were nearly as talented as, the talent you have in the league right now. Yeah.
I mean,
so that's funny. We just got through talking about this yesterday.
was pretty darn good, right?
My goodness. My goodness.
But
you got to be careful when you start talking about the greatest.
Right.
Because, man, everyone's got their greatest. You can talk about Russell. You can talk about Wilt.
Lou Alcindor was pretty good, too.
Yeah, you talk about Kareem. That's my favorite, Kareem. But, I mean, Olajuwon, Kobe wins 2 championships after he got rid of Shaq.
I know.
Who does that? I mean, so you greatness, it comes in different categories.
That's what
we're going to segue this into Cowboys.
Into Cowboys in just a minute.
We're about to. We're about to segue into that. To your point, though, Mick, right before Wilt came on the scene in the NBA, George Mikan was the big man.
Yes.
And how big was George Mikan?
He
How
was
tall was he?
Towering.
He was 6'10".
6'10"?
According to Wikipedia, he was 6'10".
7 feet tall.
6'10", 245 pounds.
That's all?
Yeah.
Man, he looked like he was about 280.
His listed height was 6'10". His listed weight 245. So he played until 1958, and then that's when Wilt basically started dominating, and then Bill Russell was in that era. Okay, I'm about to get to Washington here. Okay,
we're going to move towards
slowly.
We're going in now into
I was going to get
the
you to
60s. Bob Hayes, the world's fastest human.
I was headed there.
Okay, now that world's fastest human speed, that would translate to today, right?
Yes, it can.
Okay.
Yes, it can.
They
can do a digital thing.
I was at least
he beat Usain Bolt.
I was at least going to get you to Philadelphia because I was saying when I was
Dr.
growing.
J?
No, when I was growing up, all we got is one game on a Sunday. And that's all we got until the Bulls got back in Chicago, right? And every Sunday it was Boston versus Philadelphia. And it was like, can we watch somebody else? So I got my fill of.
Well, they had like 10 teams in the league at that time.
Maybe. I got my fill of Wilt.
I was getting us back to Washington.
Yeah,
versus Bill Russell. I got you to Philadelphia.
Mickey on Mick shots gets me sidetracked.
You're taking us off the rails.
So
now,
Bob Hayes, world's fastest human.
Yes.
According to his Wikipedia page, he once held the world record for the 70-yard dash with a time of 6.9 seconds. Okay.
Did he do that in Washington, D.C. or something?
And world's second fastest time in the 60. Okay. Of course, it's because of his 100 time as he's world's fastest human. Okay. All right. I'm taking you even further now. Yeah. I'm taking you now to the current Washington Commanders. They've got a fellow on their team named Curtis Samuel. Okay. Back when he was in high school, he had the...
You want to tell us where he went to high school?
Brooklyn, New York.
Thank you. I knew he knew.
Brooklyn, New York.
What's his name? Curtis
Samuel. Well, that's my point. That exactly is my point. The Cowboys are 2 days away from playing with the Washington Commanders, okay? And Mike McCarthy has asked the question in his press conference earlier this week.
Wow.
After a 2-game win streak, your team is on a roll. Now you're playing this Washington team. What have they ever done?
Right.
Do you have to guard against overconfidence against this team? Well, Washington just beat Jacksonville in the first week of the season. And now we're looking at the weapons that Washington has on their offense. And Everson, what did you just ask me? Who's this guy?
Who is that?
Curtis Samuel. He ran a 4. He has 4.3 speed. First play out of the chute against Philadelphia last week. Jet sweep to Curtis Samuel, and he gets 15 yards. We don't pay attention to the weapons that the other team has unless they're doing well, right?
Well, he better get open fast before the quarterback gets sacked.
Hey, that's who Carson's waiting on all the time to throw to when he's getting sacked. Yeah, he's waiting on him. And
they signed, as an example, Curtis Samuel, they signed him last year to a 3-year contract. He was their big free agent signing, but we don't remember him doing anything for Washington last year, right?
Yeah.
Because he was hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, he got in 5 games, started 1 last year. Okay, he's healthy this year. He's got 22 catches the first 3 games of the year, and he's averaging. They've given him the ball 8 times. They line him up in the backfield as a running back on occasion. He's averaging over 6 yards a carry running the football. I mean, you pair him with Terry McLaurin, with their first-round draft pick Jahan Dotson out of Penn State, who had 2 touchdown catches in his first NFL game. You go to their running backs with Antonio Gibson and McKissick back there, and they actually have skill position players. In fact, talking to Will McClay about them yesterday.
Oh, this is where he got the information on.
Well, yeah. Well, there you go. All right. And, they've kind of are building their team like the Dolphins have done with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, those type players. Get them in open space and get them on the fly. The problem, as you point out, Mickey, is getting them the football in a game like last week against Philadelphia.
Right.
But they did have success against Jacksonville.
Yep.
And
Detroit.
Wentz threw 4 touchdown passes in that game and 3 against the Lions. And so
300 in each.
there you go.
Except for last week. Yeah, they don't have a problem putting up points.
So this is weird. He's caught 22 passes, but he's only averaging, for a fast guy, 8.2 a catch.
Yeah,
That's because he's coming out of the back. A lot of it is dump off stuff.
They're trying to have him be Debo.
I don't see. Yeah, I guess 5'11", 195. That's
Because
Debo.
he's carried the ball 8 times for 51 yards.
That's a little thickness there.
Yeah.
That's a little thickness there.
No, it's formidable. Mm-hmm. And it's not like the Cowboys have been wiping people out, right?
Right.
It's taken, fourth quarter drives to break a tie on the final second of the game and 3 consecutive drives over the third and fourth quarter to score 17 points to come from behind.
But the defense has kept us in range.
But the defense has kept them in. And so that's got to be the constant for this team. Not only with your backup quarterback playing, but when Dak gets back,
I was just talking about that
right?
last night. Yes. They need to keep the same formula going. As a matter of fact, this is how we should have played against Tampa. This is the type of game plan we should have had. And even if Dak wouldn't have got hurt, I think the next week we came out and we were much more conservative. I think that still should have been the game plan if Dak would have been playing, regardless.
And chances are, now I'm just me. I mean, we know he's not playing Sunday, right?
Because you tried to shake his hand.
That's right.
You messed up his hand.
I squeezed too hard, right? I don't know about the Rams game. I think a lot of people just assume,
Jerry doesn't know it either. Even Dr. Jerry doesn't know about the Rams game on the radio this morning.
Is that he?
Yeah, he said he doesn't know.
Is that official, Dr. Jerry?
Well, just think about it. So you're gonna send after this. You're gonna, and boy, he's working hard on his cardio. By the way,
Jerry is
no. See how he tries to.
Jerry's got physical coming up. He's got physical coming up.
Get off the tracks here, Dak, and so I don't know that you miss a month and then you just go and practice twice and go out and play a game.
Right. Yeah. You got
you're begging for another injury.
You got to get your footwork in. Well, it's not just the injury; it's always the other things
that's
that go
what I
with
meant.
it, with a lack of.
Yeah, I mean
working
another
out.
injury.
Of course,
not the
like Shepard. I mean, the knee was messed up, and no, not Shepard, but Tyron. He thought he was in shape, but then he blows his hamstring. There's always other things that your body is it has to work together.
So I'm thinking maybe Philadelphia is the earliest. Isn't Philadelphia after
Philadelphia's
the Rams?
after the Rams.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's reasonable. I mean, and the other thing, and I think we talked about it yesterday, I guess you could go shotgun every play, but that thumb's got to take a snap, right? And that might hurt more than throwing the football.
Do you think that's the ultimate test?
Yeah.
Will he be able to come back when he can take that snap from underneath?
Because the hand, from my understanding, and McCarthy keeps talking about it, there's still swelling in his palm.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go shotgun every play, what does that do to
the running game?
To the run game,
yeah,
especially on the goal line.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Dan Orlovsky's going to be all over you if you line up that running back next to you. And
who is he?
That's what drives me crazy in college too. You're on the.
It went viral last week. Who was he talking about? Carolina, and he had 3 or 4 plays from their game, and he was saying that they were dictating. They were showing that they were going to throw the ball on certain plays because the running back was lined up right next to the quarterback. Whereas on their running plays, McCaffrey was lined up.
Separation.
They were a yard behind, whatever. And then they ran it on this play, but they didn't on that play, whatever.
So that gave everything.
This is the guy that ran out the back of the end zone. Running. No, it wasn't that he accidentally ran. He purposely ran away from the rush. And this guy has a job on TV. Now, that's amazing to me that you even mentioned his name on this show.
Hey, sorry. all you got to do is watch enough college football on Saturday, and about anybody can get on TV.
But the thing is, on the when you
That's a heck of a statement,
give
man.
to the running back that's lined up right next to the guy in the quarterback in shotgun,
Right. Yeah.
you're running that spread stuff. It's not like they run it and they cut straight up the middle, and so it's not really run pass action there. Anyway,
It's amazing some of the stuff that
we
comes
just
out
wasted
of people's
We just
mouth.
wasted 60 seconds on a guy that shouldn't even be on TV.
There's a lot of them.
well, we filled up that first segment, though. We
Yeah.
did do that. We even got some Washington talk in there, too.
We did.
Okay.
Maybe we can get a little bit more and a little injury update when we come back.
And there's also some other things we
Yes,
need to
there
talk
are a
about.
few.
Very sad news. We will talk about that when we come back here on Mix Shots in a moment.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh, she's doing great.
Oh, yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. You hear that? I'm a torrential downpour. Torrential? What's that even mean? It means you can't see out of your windshield. And if you have the wrong car insurance, you might have to make it rain to fix your bumper. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, singing, and toasting Miller Lite in 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Back to Mixed Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. From corporate homes to your home. Have your roof checked by choice, not by chance. Call now. 214-225-4860. KPostCompany.com.
All right, we continue here on Mix Shots. We're getting you set for Cowboys and Washington noon on Sunday. Let's spend some time here, though, talking about the passing of former Cowboy Gavin Escobar, and we were so shocked by the news that came down last night.
This year just won't finish quick enough around here, will it? I mean, it just seems one thing after another, and and I realized former second-round pick, was he 3 years here? Maybe
he was 4 years here.
4 years, because he was a second-rounder.
8 touchdowns in 4 years.
Just didn't
he didn't get a second contract.
This was probably the best thing that I heard. And so I'll pull back the curtain. I was talking to Jason Garrett this morning about Cooper Rush, and before we hung up, he basically said, "Oh, and by the way, I just want to say this, he said, I'm just heartbroken over Gavin Escobar passing away. He said, maybe he didn't achieve what we all wanted him to do as a player. He said, but that shouldn't take away from the guy he was, that he was a really, really good guy. And he said, I'm just heartbroken over this. He even pointed out, so he became a fireman in Long Beach.
Yes.
And Jason said he had gotten a call several years back, I guess when they were vetting him, and they were looking for references on, what kind of guy he was. And he said, I couldn't say enough nice things about the guy. Mountain climbing.
Yeah. Well, he's probably just an adventurous guy, man. And, that the stuff seems
I mean, if you're going to be a fireman, you're somewhat adventurous.
Yeah, if you're a fireman,
right?
Firemen are, God, there's some brave individuals. But I just hate the fact that, it's the family that you leave behind.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Got 2 kids, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and a wife.
That's the tough one. Yeah, that's leaving the kids behind.
And just 31 years old.
Still could have been playing.
Another in a long line, a list of people who've passed away that have been connected to this franchise in the last, full year, going back to 2021 in the fall.
And rock climbing stuff is so scary. I guess I'm kind of afraid of heights, yeah.
It sounded like it was one of those mountain face type things. 2 of them, too.
Well, that's that's their challenge.
Yeah.
The fact that you play football, you're already kind of a thrill seeker being a football player. So, it's just part of his DNA.
There was a young lady with him. And I was reading where it had rained recently, and maybe it was slippery or was soft. The L.A. Times pointed out that I think it was back around 2000s. There's been other people trying to climb the face of that mountain that passed away.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's
in
one
the
of
same
those
kind of
challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big guy to be climbing up that thing.
Yeah,
man.
no kidding.
Yeah. He was agile.
So our hearts and our thoughts and prayers go out to the Escobar family, and I know there's so many of his teammates have gone on social media and I'm sure are expressing their condolences as well. I mean, it's so sad and so, it wasn't that long ago he was in the Cowboy locker room,
right?
And
so all those guys, the trainers, the guys, the equipment guys, they all know him, right? And so, he touched a lot of people. Even McCarthy talked about it. He said, I didn't coach him, but talking to some of the people that were here when he was here, they were just talking about what a good guy he was.
All right. So what? Moving on to present day and what we're looking at today. They're back to a normal work schedule now. Today, it's been a short week. But with the mock game today, like they normally do on a Friday. Yep.
Right, and they did that. They completed just when we were coming in here to finish.
Do they don't have to wear helmets today?
No, they wear them tomorrow.
Okay, but some just choose to wear them. Like Tony, I think Pollard had his on.
Today?
Today.
Yeah.
Several people
but most of the guys they
don't have them on.
Ball caps or stocking caps.
Right.
Or
it's
whatever.
basically a walkthrough.
Yeah, it's a walkthrough. So, so tomorrow, as McCarthy pointed out in his press conference, is kind of the barometer day for the guys coming back. Can they play? Can't they play? I think they feel better about Gallup this week.
I saw him out there.
Yeah, and Mike was talking about it on the radio show this morning that there's more components than just physical, like your injury. You also have to have your body, the rest of it in shape, and then there's a mental aspect. Do you trust yourself? And I know you didn't have any injuries that you had to rehab.
I always think about that.
Right?
How when you have a guy as athletic as Michael Gallup,
right?
It's just instinctive for him to make these amazing moves. I think that's kind of how he
right.
in the first place. But just being able to change direction, being able to turn, with one foot on the ground and things of that nature, and come down and be able to make moves even after that. How do you?
You got to trust.
How do you know
yourself.
you're ready? Right. I mean, I don't care how many drills you do, footwork you do. Okay, I think it's ready. But when you get out there, and once again, my limbs have always been good for me. I've never had any problems with them. But to be able to still go out and make those moves, how do you trust yourself in that?
Plant your foot.
The only thing that you go on is it's happened many times before.
Right.
Yeah. So
the
it's not like it's something
right?
unusual.
You can talk to somebody else.
Right.
And I was trying to explain that to the guys this morning on the fan, and I said, here's the only example I can give. All right. I said, I told you 2 years ago I tore my Achilles, and about a year and a half later, I went back and played tennis for the first time. And I'm kind of out there, and I'm kind of thinking about it. And the ball went over my head, right? And I started running after it to go get it. And all of a sudden, I just stopped. And I'm go, what the hell are you doing? You don't have to go get that ball.
Because instinctively, you got to go get it.
I got to go get it. And it's like, no, you don't have to go get that, right? Because I kind of trusted it, but I wasn't really
you lost
sure.
all sense of injury. You just went to instincts.
Yeah. And then it was like, no, stop.
Right.
Let the ball bounce. And I can only imagine when it's your ACL, your knee, and you got to plant and get hit and get tackled. And so he was trying to explain, you got to have all these components working together. And Gallup just didn't. It wasn't like he wasn't cleared to practice. So somebody said, well, he was cleared to practice. He goes, well, not in my mind.
Right.
It's got to be.
They're not in his head.
It's got to be everything.
They're not in his head. Right. They can clear me all they want. I may not feel clear.
So maybe another week of somewhat practicing, although they weren't in pads this week. He looks like he could be ready to go. But again, somebody said, well, how are they going to adjust the offense? I go, he's not going to go out there and play 50 snaps, right? If he gets 20, he's the third receiver to me, right? Noah Brown's still number 2.
Yeah, as it stands right now.
Yeah. And then eventually you kind of move into it. He seemed.
There's still a lot of games left to be played,
right? He seemed encouraged about McGovern and Schultz, that they would be ready to play. But again, they got to get through tomorrow. Schultz has been playing with a knee brace on, so you got to get used to that. You don't want to slide like Brady did and break the brace, right?
What are you done with that part of it? I got another
that
one I want to move on to.
And then I think McGovern, going back to left guard, I think he could be ready for that.
Okay, along those lines, what do you think the plan is if let's say everybody's healthy, okay?
Totally healthy.
Everyone is,
no limitations.
McGovern's ready to go.
Yeah.
Everybody. Where do they view Jason Peters' role?
I think left guard.
And what?
But not immediately, because I think he needs.
Okay, let's say Philadelphia game. We're 3 weeks away, which is actually 2 weeks away now. 2 weeks and 2 days from now. If everybody is healthy, and Jason Peters is now 2 weeks and 2 days further along, okay. Do they envision Jason Peters as their best option to start at left guard alongside Tyler Smith or Connor McGovern at left guard?
I think it depends on how McGovern plays in the next 2 games.
Okay.
Because if he's ready to go, I think he's your left guard. But I think Peters comes in. They had 15 snaps on him for last week. They thought 15 to something.
Yeah, it was 2 series. Yeah.
And he ended up 14, and it was 2 series. And so I would think this week maybe another series.
How's he feel
in the third quarter? He's back out there.
How's a 40-year-old feel after 2 series of ball in the pros?
He's back out there, so maybe he gets an extra series this game and then see where he's at. But
it's not like he's back there like Brady playing quarterback.
But here's the way I look at
it.
If he's
getting pounded.
If he's ready for a full game, McGovern as a utility guy is almost as valuable as starting, right? Because he could serve as your backup guard. He can be your fullback. He can be your third tight end in blocking situations. Now, as it is now, I think they used Peters once maybe as the third tight end in a blocking situation when they went heavy. And it goes heavy when he's out there, right?
Tip the scales.
Right, yeah. So you could use McGovern in those situations, too. So maybe if he's ready to go, he's your left guy.
I mean, you just don't see it very often that at any position on the offensive line that reps are split.
Right.
Long term. Maybe in a situation where a guy is coming back off an injury, but you get 6 weeks into it and they have their set 5 that they go with.
You forget 50 years ago they shot
they used to. No, they used to do that. But what I'm saying is
guards used to bring in the plays.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but anymore they don't do that.
I know.
Yeah. So but maybe in this case with McGovern and Peters, it's something that would benefit the whole operation
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Your best six, so to speak. So, yeah.
Where McGovern could be on the field the same time Peters is on the field.
I would love that. I would love that. You know, if we're in that position, that means we're in the game.
And you're
controlling the situation.
running the football,
I'd love to see both of them in the game at the same time.
Yeah.
Could McGovern be a second tight end?
But no, Peters played it in college.
We're dismissing that at age 40.
They lined him up last
I know,
year.
but I'm saying like on a more regular basis.
That I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm not McGovern.
Because then you know for sure what's coming up, right?
It won't be a
Doesn't
pass.
mean you have to be running the ball, but maybe you got to.
Or maybe you want to take a 7-step drop and give your quarterback enough time.
There you go.
That's right.
Stand
You
back
get
there,
some elite.
peruse the field.
You know, those Philadelphia pass rushers look pretty tough.
Just try to play like Teddy Bridgewater and just throw deep all the time.
Teddy Two Gloves.
That's another topic, but we ain't got time.
All right, and speaking of time, up next here on Mix Shots, it is our picks to click and our picks to win on Sunday at AT&T Stadium.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh, she's doing great.
Oh, yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. You hear that? I'm a torrential downpour. Torrential? What's that even mean? It means you can't see out of your windshield. And if you have the wrong car insurance, you might have to make it rain to fix your bumper. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
The season is finally here. For months, we've been gearing up to win. Now it's time for the team that performs on any field, United Ag and Turf. With John Deere zero turns for mowing, compact tractors for loading, mini excavators for digging, Gator utility vehicles for hauling, implements for grading, hay tools for baling. United Ag and Turf, for winning. The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com for more. Back to Mixed Shots.
Miller Lite is proud to bring you the QBBQ Fest Dallas, located at the Miller Lighthouse at AT&T Stadium. Join your Cowboys from November 4th through the 6th for some of the best barbecue in the country. Get your tickets today at SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium.
Time now to go into the lost and found department. And you may recall at the end of yesterday's show, Everson was talking about that safety that we lost last year, right, Everson?
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
And Nate Newton brought it to our attention once again today, and we were racking our brains on that safety we lost last year, which we had talked about. DeMonte Casey and
nope.
Keanu
I said
Neal.
nope. I
And
said
then
nope.
finally, at the end of the show, it dawned on us, oh, you're talking about Darian Thompson.
And now I said, okay.
Then at the very
I just said, okay. I wasn't
he just
sure.
gave up.
Yeah, whatever.
then-
then y'all dogged me on that. He only played 3 plays.
He's on the practice squad.
Come on, man.
So
Dogging
that
me.
was a safety.
Yeah.
Well, we now have, I think, in our lost and found department, we have found,
We found him.
the safety that Everson was talking about yesterday. And that safety was actually lost not last year,
2 years ago.
but 2 years ago.
There you go.
And that would be
Xavier Woods,
who went to the Minnesota Vikings and is now a Carolina Panther.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
I just missed a year.
Mm-hmm.
The pandemic does that. I missed a year. Thank you.
Good guy.
Screw you, Nate. Nathaniel.
Good guy.
Yeah.
Yes,
I believe
that's right.
he was from
Good player.
Where did he?
La Tech.
La Tech. I was going to say he was from Louisiana too.
Yep, another one, right? That's
down
why
the
he's
street.
close to the heart.
I was feeling it, y'all.
By the
I was
way,
feeling it, man.
By the way,
feeling
there's a
it.
big football game on Saturday.
I got tickets in the
Cotton
car
Bowl.
already, baby.
Uh-huh.
I got tickets and parking pass in the car. I'll be partying tomorrow, watching the game, watching Grambling play with no G on their helmets for some strange reason. The coach decided to remove the G from the helmets.
Because?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I have
You
no
will
idea.
find out tomorrow.
I'm pretty sure it won't make any sense, whatever the reason is.
And then you'll go to the state fair?
No, I won't have time for that.
Oh, okay.
No, I'll go there with my wife.
Well, don't forget your appearance with me.
Oh, come on, man. That's the highlight of my weekend.
I didn't want the game
That's
to get
the
in the
highlight
way.
of my week. The game doesn't start till 6.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
Oh,
at
and
the
mine
Cotton Bowl.
doesn't start till 6:30, so there'll be nothing on my phone in my pocket.
Oh, what doesn't start till 6:30? Your game? Oh, Mizzou. Who are they playing?
Biggest upset of the century coming up.
They aren't playing Alabama.
Georgia.
Oklahoma.
Georgia.
Worse.
Yeah, worse.
I think there's.
So you got Grambling and Prairie View,
Grambling
6
versus
o'clock
Prairie
at the
View.
Cotton Bowl.
My school versus my dad's alma mater.
Oh,
Yes.
really?
Mhm.
Who's going to win?
That's a tough one, man. We are in bad shape.
Who's going to win the Battle of the Bands?
Oh, Gramble's going to win that.
Okay,
No, the
there you
band's not injured. No, they don't
Okay.
have any problems with
All right.
injuries.
Missouri,
the day
Missouri,
starts.
Georgia.
The day starts in Fort Worth.
They're
at
only
Amon
31
Carter
at 11.
At 11 a.m.
Oh man.
TCU hosts Oklahoma.
Dude, we lost last week?
Yes.
I was so busy. I didn't have time to look.
We.
Yeah, come on, that's my squad,
I
man.
know it.
That's
I
been my
know it.
squad,
Going back to
man.
when Barry
That was my
didn't-
squad before Grambling. Yeah, I didn't know
Going
nothing
back to
about-
before when Switzer didn't recruit you out of Burton.
No, I like Oklahoma because Texas doesn't recruit any of us at the time. That's why I like Oklahoma. That's my
What position did you play in high school?
I played wide receiver and
Okay.
safety.
Could you play it in the wishbone?
Heck no. But I can tear it up, though.
Okay.
I can decipher it. Ask Richardson High School what the wishbone did for them when I was playing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sideline to sideline, baby. That's right.
That was a big rival.
That's right.
It still is the big rival.
I think we did we tie them? I think we tied like 6-6 or something. That was crazy.
I found out why they removed the G off the Grambling helmet.
Could you
If
please tell me, sir?
Well, the coach, who is Hugh Jackson, by the way.
Correct.
He says they got spanked by Dion's team and they have to earn the G back.
That sounds
And they
really
lost
stupid.
last week to Bethune-Cookman.
That
So they have
sounds
not earned
really
it back
stupid.
yet.
That sounds really stupid.
That's what I'm reading this
sounds
article.
Really stupid. That sounds really stupid. I'm sorry. It does not make sense at all.
The
to me.
funny thing about this article is it says,
Like taking the star
it
off
said
helmets here.
Grambling got smacked by Coach Prime Squad.
And then but you leave the names on the back of the jerseys. I'd rather take the names off the
Take
back
the
of the
names
jerseys.
off, right?
Yeah, but see, it's all about what's more convenient. You're gonna go in and unstitch all the names off the jerseys, or you can just
take the
See what I'm
decal
saying?
off.
Come on, man. Yeah, let's be real about why you're doing this. We're not dumb. We're not
Jackson indicated that players need to earn the right to wear the logo. The Tigers failed to meet the expectations, can only earn that right to wear it again if they show improvement. So there you go. That's why you have black helmets.
They must be practicing like crap too if they're gonna lose like crap.
Okay, now it will be the prelude to Sunday at noon at AT&T Stadium. The Cowboys and the Commanders. And Everson has had his pick to click. He
I've been
determined
balling,
this
y'all.
early in the week.
I've been balling.
All right, so let's
I
hear
had
it.
Dalton Schultz first game. I had Brown second game against the Bengals. I had DeMarcus against.
He's keeping track of this.
He's
He's got it on his-
He's got it on his
phone.
phone.
I have it. That's right. I'm gonna kill y'all this year. I'm gonna kill y'all.
He ain't keeping track of ours though.
because it didn't matter. You weren't good. All right, I got Cowboys winning,
All right.
28-17.
28-17.
I really think we're going to do well against their defense. I think we're going to run the ball think some guys are going to be, hopefully the play action is going to work for us. Guys are going to be wide open. But in order for that to happen, our O-line has to play ball. So I'm picking the entire offensive line against the Commanders.
Stretching the rules, huh?
No, man, it's easy. That O-line's going to dominate.
Well, in that case, I'm taking Parsons.
In that case, I'm taking the
All right, hold on.
You
okay.
take the offensive line, I'll take the defensive line.
You want me to pick somebody?
I like your pick.
I want to pick. I'll be even more
specific.
Smith is going to tear it up. Tyler Smith is going to dominate. Boom. That's it.
Tyler Smith.
Yeah. I'll put that in. I'll edit that in. Yes.
You know, when fully healthy, Washington has 5 first-round draft picks in their front 7 on defense.
But it looks like they may not have their center.
Oh.
Schweitzer.
Yep. So who's going to start at center for him?
He's DNP'd both days in practice with a concussion, by the way. And I would imagine after last night we'll be very vigilant about concussions going into a game.
Wow, yeah, everybody's on it.
I don't know who's starting instead. Let me look.
I heard reports about Nick Martin, Zach's
brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got another Martin?
Yeah, well, he was with the Texans, and then he went to the Raiders, and then he wasn't signed in the offseason, maybe coming off an injury.
Indeed is the backup center.
And
Martin.
He was in the Saints camp, I think, for a little bit, and then wound up in Washington.
Well,
so
I think
he was just signed September 21st, so he's just joined them.
Just joined them?
Yeah.
If he's ready, got to ramp up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had mentioned about the Cowboys signing him as a backup when he was a free agent.
Yep.
That would be kind of cool. Talk about communication.
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't have.
All right, so you going next?
And they've had some problems on their offensive line to start with, right?
Yes, they have. And last week in particular against the Philadelphia Eagles, which is why I'm going with the Dallas defensive line.
Well, then give me the wide receivers.
Receivers, yes. The passing game.
And I was going to take CD Lamb after watching those Eagles receivers running wide ass open the whole game.
So you're taking CD.
I got CD.
For a second straight game, having a big game.
That's right.
I still have to.
No, he had a big game in the fourth quarter, so now we're rolling in.
Okay.
We're rolling in.
I still beg to differ on the guys. They were a bit wide open, but the best plays they made were 50-50 balls. So if nothing else, I could see our receivers.
Or getting credit for catching one that was out of bounds.
Yeah, well, but at the same time.
I'll be throwing the flag.
At the same
time. That was one on the sideline?
It was
Devontae?
Devontae Smith.
Yeah, it was.
He was out.
But no, they had a few 50-50 balls where they just outmanned
But he made some great
DBs.
catches.
And see, we can do that as well. We're going to have to do that because I don't know about how wide open they're going to be, but you're most effective when you get those 50-50 balls.
One-arm CD. Pull one in.
I'm trying to specify. I don't want to go with D-Law.
Too obvious?
And I'm trying to figure out which defensive lineman I want to go with.
Get Armstrong.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Golston.
And he's been good all along. Because we can't take Parsons.
That's right.
Right. We've determined
so far. Well, we're going to let a few weeks go by.
You know what?
And he's back on the table.
So the reason I don't want to take D-Law is, okay, he's coming off a 3-sack game. So what measurement are we using on him to determine that this was
wasn't good enough
to click?
And as we pointed
out, 2 sacks a pick to click, or
it wasn't good enough for NFL to pick him.
That's crazy.
Right. All right, so I'm going to take D-Law then.
All right.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Yeah. That's a good pick.
He should. If they concentrate on Parsons, watch out.
Which they have to.
And they will have to. Absolutely. And this defense needs to keep them in the game. So, I didn't give you a score. The scores have been increasing. So 23 last week, 24 this week, 24-13 decreasing.
Okay, 20. I for some reason have been thinking 24-17.
Okay.
Okay, so you got 28-17, 24-17, and 24-13. There you go.
For the team that's leading the league in sacks.
That's right.
And they're gonna pad.
Okay, so how many sacks?
That's
the
what
Eagles got 9.
What's the over/under, right?
Eagles got 9. I think Detroit got 5 against them or something like that. I think something like that.
And you know what? It's not necessarily just the sacks. I think
pressures.
I think we'll get about 5 sacks, but it's the hits. It's the hits that's gonna matter.
They don't put that in the quarterbacks' stats.
How many times they got hit?
Like how many times they got hit.
And Wentz was sacked 5 times against Detroit, but only once against Jacksonville.
And they won.
That's right. So that's the key to victory.
So somebody asked me.
That's the key.
Probably Everson's not going to agree with me. Because they pointed out that the Cowboys have all these sacks, but they've got fewer takeaways, fewer interceptions. Which would you rather have? And I'm going, well, I think the sacks are almost more important. It's almost like a turnover. If you get a sack, you got a chance of getting out on downs. Interceptions kind of come, right? They didn't coach you to intercept passes, right? But they can coach you scheme you to get sacks. I just think the sacks are really important.
I think sacks can be overcome offensively.
Right.
They can still get a third down, which we've been kind of giving up those third downs.
You're right.
Yeah, and so if you have, I would say 2 sacks might equal 1 pick. Because now if you got 2 sacks, you're not overcoming that.
Yeah.
You're losing with field position. Now a lot of things can happen now as long as you keep them backed up. But if you just get that 1 sack, then you let them get another third down, then that kind of negated it.
Yeah, getting the ball back is more important.
No doubt.
But interceptions, I mean, you can't say, okay, we're going in the game, we're getting 3 interceptions.
And they don't fear – offenses don't fear interceptions. They fear sacks.
Right.
Yeah, they fear the possibility of multiple sacks coming your way.
Now, here's the other key that I had, I know we got to go, is they cannot let Carson Wentz run for 79 yards, right? Their rush discipline has to improve. It's great. Everybody's chasing a sack, but you can't let the quarterback out of the hole. Right?
To me, and I don't know how difficult that is, but you just have to have a coordinated rush. You can't get pushed all the way by. And the defensive tackle, he has to widen out. He cannot get pushed inside. Too much of a lane.
And that's what
it happens several times.
It's one thing for the quarterback to run because they're calling quarterback draw or it's a run option and he keeps. But those were just scrambling out of the pocket after. You did a good job of putting pressure on, but you didn't keep them there. Right?
How much do you think they're going to run a quarterback draw?
I bet he runs a little bit, doesn't he? Once.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if they call
I don't know
runs,
what kind of
but
plays they are.
He can move.
Right.
So
I think he runs better than he passes. I know that's I'm not trying to dog him, but that's how good of a runner he is. He's a big physical kid.
Let's see what
6'4", 6'5"?
So far,
he ain't little at all.
He had 3 carries for 22 yards last week
11
against
for
Detroit.
11 for 57.
Yeah, he had 3 for 22 against Philly and 2 for 23 against Detroit. I mean, he doesn't run like as much as Daniel Jones does, but
But
he's as big as Jones.
That defense, you can't just. I mean, that's got to be crushing for you. You get 3rd and long, and you let like Burrow did.
They are tired
last night.
They are tired.
He's running for first downs.
Those D linemen get so tired.
All right, that does it for this edition and another week of Mick Shots, and we will break it all down on Monday at noon. In the meantime, go
Cowboys.
Grambling.
Oh, there you go.
Happy October.
Go Cowboys, go Grambling.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?